On the record. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, we had the NAR settlement, which essentially said that NAR owes a bunch of money. We did a whole class on it. We did a whole PowerPoint on it, all these different things. Ultimately, what the main result that comes from these settlements that have happened is that you need to really, really focus your career on being a listing agent. Now, we talk about that all the time. You hear us say become a listing agent, but you really need to take that to a different serious level. Okay. Because buyer agent commissions, and I've been tracking this, and shout out to Mike Doyle for first bringing this to my attention 4 or 5 years ago. Buyer agent commissions in our marketplace have steadily been declining year after year. So what I mean by that is, 4 or 5 years ago, between 2.5 and 3% was maybe about 50% of the transactions in our marketplace. Then it's all of a sudden dropped to like below 50 and then below and below and below. And now you're talking about 2.5 to 3% buyers agents commissions is about 15% at best. And in a lot of our areas, it's under 10% of 2.5 to 3% commissions, where it used to be higher. The average buyer agent commission, anyone want to guess what the average buyer agent commission is in our marketplace in the last 12 months?
2%.
2%. And I'm not saying he's wrong, but anyone else just want to, for fun, play what the average buyer agent commission is in our marketplace?
Yeah, 2.5.
Two and a half.
175.
All right, we're getting closer. So it's 2.1 is the average, 2.1%. But just a couple years ago, it was 2.6, and then it's just steadily declined down to 2.1. Now with these settlements, it's going to decline more. Okay, it's just the gig. It's just going to. It was going to decline anyways, and now it's just speeding up that decline. So as time goes on, working with buyers, you're going to get paid less per transaction working with buyers, which means if you're going to make a lot of money, you're going to have to close a lot of buyer transactions. I'm not saying don't work with buyers, because there's still money to be made. Because I mean, in our marketplace, the beauty of where we live is that even if you closed a deal at $600,000, even if we only got paid 1.5%, that's $9,000. Okay, so it's not like you're getting paid 1.5% in Topeka, Kansas. Okay, so beauty of Southern California, right? But 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 still that's going down. So you have to put your focus on becoming a great listing agent, because when you're a listing agent, you still get to control the commission, because even if the seller says, I don't want to pay a buyer's agent, that's fine, I'm still getting paid mine. Or they say, I want to make the buyer's agent's commission negotiable, that's fine, we're still getting mine. I'm securing mine, we'll figure out the buyer's agents. But you have to secure yours. So we got to focus on becoming a listing agent. So I want you to, before we get into how do you become a great listing agent, I want you to know something for those of you that don't know this. So we've been operating as a company at about 60% of our business is listings, closings are listings, compared to 40% buyers. So when we talk about becoming a listing agent and things to do to be great at taking listings, I want you to feel comfortable knowing that you're talking to a group of people that legitimately have done a great job of building a company that thrives on listings. And when you think about the fact that we're number 10 in all of Century 21, I mean, we're talking about 14,000 offices, and we're number 10. It's not like we're taking 60% listings, but we only close 50 transactions a year. I mean, we're 60% listings and closing a lot of deals. So we have the blueprint, okay? We know what's going to work, what's not going to work. So I'm going to go over this blueprint for you, and then it's for you to have. So it's not like I'm not going to share this. I'm going to go over with you first before I share it. Why does anyone want to know? This is a speaker secret. Why don't you give the audience the handout beforehand? Anyone want to know why speakers don't do that?
Because they'll be reading instead of listening.
They'll be reading instead of listening is one, and then there's another reason as well. It kind of goes with that. Anyone
They
else want to
won't show
guess the
up.
speak? They won't. They won't show. They'll take it and go, okay, great, and then they'll leave, and then
Yeah.
they'll come up with their own interpretations of what's on there, and there might be some points that they missed. So a little speaker secret for you. I had to learn that the hard way. The first time I ever had a speaking gig, I handed there was two of us, and I went first, right? Because it was my first gig, and I handed out a bunch of flyers, and the guy behind me, he was the headliner. He didn't hand out any flyers, and he came to me afterwards. He said, "Hey, do you notice I didn't hand any flyers?" I said, "I did notice that." I go, "Why not?" He goes, "Because when you were talking, they weren't listening to a damn thing you were saying. You were on page one and they were already flipping through. They're already on page four, page five. They've got everything you said figured out." And I was like, noted. So there you go. Okay. So the last thing here on this blueprint. So here's the difficult part about operating a company of our size is I could create a blueprint that mirrors and matches a Mike Ferry blueprint. I could create a blueprint that mirrors and matches a Brian Buffini, a Tom Ferry. See, all of you think that I'm only a Mike Ferry person and I'm too stupid to know what everyone other coaches are. And that's just your fault. I know what they all do. Okay. So I could write a blueprint for every one of them. What I did is I put together a blueprint that doesn't matter what coaching system you follow, who you follow, what your type of business you operate, this works for you. And I'm going to explain in detail what that means no matter what coaching program you follow. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into this. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go through this and then I'll share this with you afterwards. But I just want you to hear me out on this first. All right, so here we go. Blueprint to becoming a listing agent. Everybody see that? Blueprint to becoming a listing agent. You with me? All right, good. Judging by the round of applause that we got on that one, I'm just assuming that it's a yes. Great. Okay, so as I said before, this is a blueprint that's one size fits all, works with any style, any coaching program, okay, any location, any price, any sources. I put that down because like, well, but I live in Hemet and the other person lives in Irvine and we have different markets. Okay, this works for both of you, promise. I like to sell luxury homes and this person sells land. I promise it works for both of you. Relax. Okay. Now here's note number 2 as we go through this. If you want to speed up the process, take every point below and do more of it. Okay. So I'm going to go through these basic rules, but if you want to speed up the process, just do more of each point. Everybody with me on that? Okay, great. All right. So here's the basic 10. You'll notice there's a basic 10 and there's an advanced 10. We're going to go through the basic 10 first. All right. Basic 10, becoming a great listing agent. Start your day reading your goals / what are you going to do with the money you're going to make in real estate? So this is the mindset. Okay. Put a 1 in the chat box if you think mindset is the most important thing in your business. Okay. Folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. For those of you that aren't putting a 1, either you're not paying attention, which is normal, or I'm telling you, if you want to become a great listing agent, it's up here first. Because what goes on up here controls what comes out here and also controls your body. You've got to develop the mindset first. Okay. That is so crucial for everything. So start your day reading your goals, or again, what are you going to do with the money you make in real estate, however you want to? Because sometimes I say goals and people are like it's just goals don't excite them, which is a problem. But okay, what are you going to do with the money you make in real estate? Because the other part of that is some of you don't need money in real estate. It's not a joke. That's a reality. Because some of you either maybe have a pension or retirement from another job that pays your bills. Some of you have a spouse. Some of you have a trust fund. Some of you have investments that you don't actually need money from real estate to pay your bills or to make a living. Okay, well, what are you going to do with the money you make in real estate? You got to get that mindset going first. Now, here's the thing on number 1. If your goals don't excite you, you need new goals. Plain and simple. If you can't get out of bed in the morning, you need new goals. So today's the day after Easter. Today's the day after Easter. And I'm glad that you all are here, right? Showing up. There's some people in the offices. The offices are pretty quiet today. I mean, it's we just had an amazing Friday. The market's up. We're sharing all this other stuff. I'm getting no love on Telegram. The offices are quiet. Why? Because it's the day after Easter, and like you couldn't get at all of our agents couldn't get out of bed. It's just, I've never. I don't know how your family does it, but we typically don't get totally slosh drunk on Easter where you can't get out of bed the next day. I don't know. Maybe my family's different.
Hey, Robert,
But
it is a
yeah.
holiday. It's a holiday today, Cesar Chavez.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and that's why some places are closed.
Wait, aren't we celebrating Cesar Chavez because of his great work ethic?
That's why they closed the banks.
Oh, wait a
City
second.
Hall. City
Wait
Hall
a
closed.
second. We're celebrating a guy for his great work ethic by not going to work? That's wild. So my point is, some people can't get out of bed because their goals aren't there. You should be able to read your goals and get excited. Okay, so you got to start with that. Number 2, get all your contacts organized in a CRM and categorize them. Now, I don't care what CRM you use. Okay, we have Follow Up Boss. So if you want time to work Follow Up Boss, you'll see here, scan this QR code and our Follow Up Boss trainer will help you out, get you set up on Follow Up Boss. Okay, you have to be with the company to do that. But if you don't like Follow Up Boss and you're with Century 21, there's also Moxie that you don't have to pay for. If you don't like that because you don't want a company orchestrated CRM, you could use Top Producer or Lion's Desk or any, I don't really care, okay? Because it doesn't make a difference. But you've got to get your contacts organized in a CRM and categorize them. Here's what I mean by categorize them. Some of them are your database, past client centers of influence, and some of them might be open house people that signed up, old leads, things like that are also in there, but maybe they're not in your database. Okay, so you got to make sure you separate the two because not everyone should be treated equally. But agents that have this CRM and have everything categorized and organized, it's easier to make contacts, it's easier to take notes, it's easier to send out emails, text messages, all that stuff. You got to have your systems in order. Okay, you can't just be all over the place. You're going to miss opportunities. Okay, I can't tell you how many coaching calls I get on, and I'll say, "Hey, what's going on with this lead?" Because it's a lead they told me about 1 or 2 weeks ago, and then they go, "Oh," and then they don't know. I'm like, because you're not organized. All right, number 3, get everybody in your database set up on a monthly email campaign. Now, again, if you want to speed up the process, do this more. But everybody in your database should at least be getting an email monthly from you. Okay. Now, it doesn't have to be hand typed out. Hey, Jane, how are the kids? Blah, 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 because chances are they're probably not going to open the email. I don't care what type of template you follow. If you follow a Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, Tooth Fairy template, I don't know, right? Whatever. It doesn't matter what template you follow. They're not going to open it very often. Okay. So now your past client centers of influence, some of you, I know we have like Manny and Corona has a tremendous open rate. Some of you do a great job with that. Others of you, it's not a big deal. So, but at least get the email. Why? Even though they won't open it, chances are a lot of them won't open it. What's the benefit of them getting an email from you?
Your name comes out.
Yeah,
a
top of
reminder?
mind. Top
Yeah.
of mind.
It's in here.
Yeah, recognition.
Yeah, recognition. Top of mind, recognition.
They
I
say
mean,
I have to delete Maria's email again.
yeah, that's right. And just remember that it was Maria. There you go. It's all top of mind. That's why whenever you buy something at a store, I get emails every day from places I bought something online. And I don't even shop online very much, but I get emails all the time from Nordstrom's or wherever because I bought something there in 2008. I don't know, but I get emails all the time. But I'll tell you what, if I ever happen to be shopping, I'm going to think about, I wonder if Nordstrom sent me a coupon or something, right? Because I'm going to remember they sent me an email, right? So it's all about top of mind. Now, worst case scenario, there's a thing called HomeBot or something like HomeBot is a great thing to make sure you get out to everybody monthly. It's a great tool, but a monthly email campaign at the minimum. I always think it should be weekly, but at least monthly. All right, number 4, set reminders to make sure everyone in the database gets called at least every 3 months. At least every 3 months. Now, I would prefer every 2 months. And if it was my A group, I would say every month. And Mike Ferry has come around to agree with that, not because of me. But he has this thought process now that if you have your your A plus group, which are your top people, they should get contact from you every 30 to 45 days. But at a minimum, everybody gets called at least 3 months. Now, now the script you use, here's where I mean, like every coaching program, you could use wherever you want. You want to be Mike Ferry and say, hey, John, this is Robert. It's a business call. Do you have a minute? Great. If you're like, I don't like that script, no problem. And you want to be Brian Buffini, which is all about relationship building, how the kids, how's this? Or you want to be Tom Ferry and build a relationship and share some great stats, that's fine. It doesn't matter what script you use, what system you use. Every single one of those coaches agree that you need to be in touch with your database more often. Okay. So monthly email, call at least every 3 months. Again, I would say every 2 months, but at least every 3 months they get a call from you. Verbal. A call is verbal. Okay. Somebody say verbal, just so I know everybody can hear me.
Verbal.
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 Verbal. Okay.
Verbal.
This is not a text message every 3 months. Verbal. If you want to take more listings, you need to have more verbal conversations. Text messaging could be good. That's an added thing. Hey, I also send a text every couple months or whatever. That's fine. But you got to have verbal conversations. People they have questions. They need their questions answered. And you can't get that via text message. And you also can't pick up on little clues via text message. Here's what you can't pick up on text message: pauses. So I call someone, they've been thinking about selling, but everyone mentioned earlier, oh, the media, news doesn't always paint a great light, which it doesn't. Okay. But I call someone and I say, hey, you thinking about selling? And they go, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm instantly going, wait, hold on. Clearly something's going on. You paused, you thought about it. Well, I asked you that question. What went on in your head? Right? That's the questions I'm going to ask. Now, if I send a text message, hey, you thinking about selling? Look at the market. And they go, no, we're fine. And I just go, okay. Okay. I don't pick up on that stuff. All right. So I need the verbal. All right. Number 5, create a high quality pre-listing package / listing presentation. Some of you don't send a pre-listing package. It's just your listing presentation, whatever. Connect with our marketing team to put one together. Here's the QR code to do that. I got to tell you, having a really nice pre-listing package or listing presentation, 1, gives you more confidence to go out on listings. And 2, impresses the client because not everybody has that. And you're always looking for that leg up. Okay. So put together something really nice. Okay. And what I mean by that, you don't have to go crazy on it unless you're doing luxury homes. But if you're with Century 21, I don't know, maybe get the updated logo that we've had for 5 or 6 years now. And some of you still have the old yellow and black logo. Or, if you follow, if you've been with Mike Ferry for a number of years, maybe update the listing plan of action so it doesn't say you're going to fax a benefit sheet to all the top agents in town. Things like that. Maybe just a suggestion, maybe even an updated photo of yourself. That's not your prom photo from 25 years ago. I don't know, just some thoughts here, but updated, really nice pre-listing or listing presentation package. Like, make yourself look like the professional. And I don't want to hear, remember, this goes to any location, because I don't want to hear, well, you know what, Robert, I work in the desert. I work in a rural area. Oh, well, then, gosh, then, yeah, just, make your listing package really crappy. Since, you work in the desert or a really rural area, we don't want to look upgraded. That would just be, cool. So what? Be the luxury agent in your market. Whatever luxury is in your market, maybe luxury in your market's $500,000 compared to the average price point. Be the luxury agent in your market. Okay. All right. Role play at least 15 minutes daily on scripts and objection handlers, and role play at least 15 minutes daily on your preferred listing presentation. Now, again, I would prefer more, but let's say at least 15 minutes working on some scripts and objection handlers. And I don't care what scripts you follow. And what's funny, no matter who you follow, because Tom Ferry says you should do it for 30 minutes to an hour a day. Brian Buffini says you should do it for at least 30 minutes a day. Their scripts, whatever the case may be, Mike Ferry says you should do it for an hour a day. So it doesn't matter. All the coaching programs say the same thing, that practice is really, really important. And then I only mentioned those 3 because of the biggest, but I know there's a bunch of other people on YouTube and a variety of other different things. but at least 15 minutes a day working on scripts and objection handlers, whatever scripts you work on, and 15 minutes daily working on your preferred listing presentation. Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, Brian Buffini, Joe Johnson, who lives in a den in Kentucky. They've all written listing presentations. Find one you like, okay, and do that one, okay, but practice it, whichever one you like. Okay, that's the only way you're going to get any better is if you practice that presentation. Is it really tough to get listings? Is it tough to get listings? Let's be honest.
Yes.
Yes, it's tough to get listings. Okay, no, inventory is not as high as it was years ago. You have a lot of competition.
But you notice everybody else is.
It's tough to get listings. So when I get a listing appointment, I need to have all the confidence in the world. I'm going to go in there, say everything I'm going to say at the highest level. And you can't do that if you haven't practiced. Okay? You can't do that if you haven't practiced. So at least 15 minutes a day. Check this out. If you work 200, they say the average real estate agent works 220 days a year. Okay? That's what they say. The average real estate agent works 220 days a year. You might work more, you might work less. But let's say 220. If you spent 15 minutes a day working on something for 222 days, that equals 55 hours a year. So if you just spent 15 minutes a day working on your listing presentation, that's 55 hours over the next 12 months. Would you be better at your listing presentation? Yes or no? There you go.
Yeah.
Now, the more you do it, the better, but gosh, at least 15 minutes. And here's the beauty of this plan. Don't tell me you don't have the time. If you don't have the time, let me know. I'll happily sit down and put together a schedule for you, because I've put together schedules that fit all this stuff for people that only have 4 to 5 hours a day to work. Okay. So you just have to plan it out. But 15 minutes a day working on scripts and objection handlers, 15 minutes a day working on your preferred listing presentation. Study InfoSparks or other market stats monthly. Okay. You got to know what's going on in the marketplace. Just like I just said, right? I just gave you those market stats. Do you think the stats I just gave you are helpful to know when I'm talking to sellers?
Yes.
Well, I've got one. Good. 41 more to go.
Yes.
2,
Yes, yes.
3, 4.
Okay. All right. There we go. Thank you.
Yes, yes,
All
yes.
right.
But
So,
sometimes the
if somebody was to come to you and you're going on and you're talking to a seller and they're saying, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if now's really a good time to sell. What's going on in the market? And you go, well, market's hot. Just don't go. Just refer the lead to somebody else. Like, you got to be able to articulate what's going on in the market. When you're talking to a potential seller and say, well, I don't know, is it a good time for me to sell? Well, that's really great. Actually, I don't know if you know this, but the days on market compared to this time last year is down 22%. Did you know that? No. Yeah. Homes are selling faster. Prices are up 8%. Did you know that? No. Wow. So obviously buyers are pretty aggressive right now. For the first time in 6 months, homes are selling above list price on average. So when I can articulate that stuff, now the seller's interested. Now it's like, wow, this person has something. So you got to study InfoSparks or other market stats, whatever you have, to make sure that you know what's going on in the market. It helps move them along. It helps show that you know what you're doing. Plus, there's an old saying, knowledge equals what?
Power.
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 There's another word too. Confidence. Right?
Confidence.
Knowledge equals power. Knowledge equals confidence. I've heard it both ways. You're both right. If I'm going to generate listings, I need confidence. If I'm walking up the driveway on a listing appointment with my shoulders slumped and I'm going, gosh, I hope they give me this listing, just turn around, go back to the car and save everybody some time. You should be walking up that driveway going, I'm going to get this listing. Right? You should be pumped. You should be excited, but you can't have that mentality if you don't know the market stats, if you're not confident with your presentation, if you're not confident with your objection handlers, if you don't have a great listing presentation package that looks really nice, you're not going to have that confidence. Just turn around, refer the deal to somebody else. So at least you maybe get a 50%, 25% deal. But when you have all this stuff and you know the market stats, like I just rattled off, when you've done 55 hours over 12 months of a listing presentation, when you've got this really nice pre-listing package, you're like, let's go. Now I can get some listings. All right, number 8, preview at least 2 homes daily. Now, I'll let you do virtually because I know some of you won't go in person, although I'd really prefer you to go in person. You got to know the market. You have to know your inventory. Okay. You have to know what's going on. You have to know what the streets look like. You have to know what are the quiet streets, what are the loud streets, what homes have the upgrades, what don't have the upgrades, which homes have the power lines, which don't have the power lines, which one backs up to a school. Okay. And you can't find all this out by looking at the photos and the description in the MLS. You got to go see it. Now, when I say virtual, does everybody know how to do Google Street View? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So here's what I mean by virtual. You go to the MLS, you look at the photos, you look at the description, you type the address into Google Street View, and you do a little bit of some Google Street View. Now, it's not 100% accurate, but at least gives you somewhat of an idea of, wow, the house across the street is a total disaster. It's an eyesore. Okay. I need to know that. Right. Or wow, I didn't realize, you know what? They never took the photos of, the power pole that's in the backyard. Now, some people doesn't mind. I used to have a house that was there and I didn't mind. And look at me, I'm totally normal, but that's probably not true, but we'll go down that path later. All right. But some people don't want power lines in the back, power lines in the backyard. But you're never going to know that looking at the MLS. So you got to at least do the Google Street View. But imagine 2 homes a day. Again, compound effect. If I did 2 homes a day, 5 days a week, that's 10 a week. And I did that for, say, 40 weeks a year. That's 400 homes. If I previewed 400 homes in my marketplace, would I be the knowledgeable resource in my market? Yes or no? Yeah.
Yes.
2 a day. 2 a day. Now, for those of you that have never taken listings or haven't taken a lot of listings, this is how you beat everyone else. Well, you haven't sold many homes in my marketplace. Yes, I know that, Mr. Maseller, but here's what I have done. I've actually studied every single home in your marketplace. And in the last 2 months, I've actually previewed 60 homes. So every single home that's been listed, I've been inside. And I'll bet no other real estate agent you work with can say that, which gives me the opportunity to price your home the best way to get it sold. Does that make sense? Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Good
Like
point.
it's an advantage that you have if you've never taken listings. But if you don't have the experience and you don't have the product knowledge, well, then what are you going to do? Well, here's what you're going to do. You're going to either price it really high or you're going to cut your commission. Which I want you to know, neither of those are on this blueprint. Just in case you were curious. Okay. But you got to have that stuff. All right. Number 9, talk to at least 15 people per day, 5 days a week, and add at least 1 person to your database weekly. I don't care if it's 2024, 1924, or the year 24. We are in the talk to people business. Well, Robert, that's such a Mike Ferry thing to say. Okay, I'm so glad you asked. because again, I get this critique that I can only do Mike Ferry, which is hysterical. So I watched the Tom Ferry video the other day. I went to one of his trainings, right? Registered, watched one of his trainings the other day. Okay. And he was talking about 2024. And he said, and I don't have it down quoted, but he said essentially that leads are taking longer to facilitate into deals. So we need to constantly fill up the pipeline, which means we probably need to have more conversations, because he doesn't say prospecting because that's his dad's term. We need to have more conversations with people. So here's what he suggested. He suggested call 5 people a day from your past clients, call 5 people a day of people you don't know, and then call 5 leads. Well, I was like, 5, that's 15. So he's suggesting you call 15 people, you talk to 15 people a day. He just broke it down to 5 past clients, 5 people you don't know, 5 leads. Okay. But it's still 15 people a day. So then I was like, oh, let's go watch Brian Buffini. So I registered for a Brian Buffini class. I said, what's he got to say about 2024? Now, I've actually seen Brian Buffini live a number of times. And he's talking about same thing. Hey, what's all about building relationships. And the way we build relationships is having more conversation with people. So he suggests go pop buys, right? Maybe it's not on the phone, but going to pop by your past clients, go pop by your centers of influence, things like that. So, but he's saying to have essentially verbal conversations with he said a minimum of 10, but you should have at least 15 to 20 verbal conversations a day. So I don't care how you get to 15, if you're doing, hey, straight up cold calling, or if you're doing pop buys, or if you're doing, hey, I'm doing 5 new people, 5 old people, 5 leads, or I'm doing expires, or however you're doing it. You just got to talk to people. We're in a verbal business. We're in a talk to people business, and every coach that you follow is telling you that. Now, some of them are going to also, because now, well, Tom Ferry also does social media. Yeah, he does social media, but he's still talking about you have to talk to 15 people a day. That's what he said on his most recent training. Okay, he broke it down. So you could do the social media, you could do all that stuff, but even those coaches, those trainers are telling you, you have to talk to more people. So set a goal of 15 people a day. And if you talk to 15 people a day, 5 days a week, then you have an opportunity to find more listing leads. You need more listing leads to find a listing. And now how you go about it's your own business. But the number that a minimum is 15, and then add at least one person to your database weekly. Here's what I've learned tremendously over the last 6-7 months, talking to a lot of agents. They add people to their database. So you need to make sure that you're adding people every day to your database. Okay. So every single person that you're talking to, add them to your database. And we have a script at the bottom about doing that, but you've got to get more people in your database.
Robert,
that-
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What was the 5? You said 5 you don't know, 5 you
He
do
said
know.
5 people you know, past clients, 5 people you don't know, and 5 leads. And then if
5
you
leads.
don't have 5 leads, then contact either 5 more people you know or 5 people you don't know. But if he broke it down 5, 5, 5 that way. So however anybody wants to do it, it's just getting to more people. But add at least one people to your database. If you're talking to 15 people a day, 5 days a week, that's 75 people. Now even if let's say half of them were people already in your database, let's say 40 were in your database, there's 35 people you're talking to that aren't in your database. You should be able to get at least 1. Ideally 2, but you've got to build up that database. Okay. It's the number one source of all of our business is database. And yet it's the one area we don't really build, which doesn't make a lot of sense. All right. Number 10, go on any and all listing presentations to get yourself in the game. Now, this is going to come as a shock to some of you. Like, well, what if they're not really motivated? Okay. If they're ridiculously unmotivated, then it's not really a listing presentation. It's more of a visit. But if they're, well, you know what? They're a little bit high on price. I'm going to go. They say they really want to cut their commission and they're only going to go with the lowest commission. I'm going to go. Go on all listing presentations. Get yourself in the game. Get in the habit of going on presentations. Okay. You just never know what might come from that. You might get the listing. Maybe after you talk to them, there is some motivation there. If they're not going to list with you and they list with somebody else, but they're unmotivated, it's still not going to sell. But maybe you can be the second person because at least you were honest. Maybe you can add them to your database, but you got to get in the game. You just have to, we've got to get in the game more often. So if you got someone that wants to list their house, go talk to them. Okay. Get in the game. Okay. Questions on the basic 10. All right. So here's the deal. So this is the basic 10. If you want to become a good listing agent, this is the basic 10 that needs to be part of your business. And again, I just broke it down to, it doesn't really matter what coach or system or location, anything you follow. This works for everybody. Okay, now let's go to the advanced 10. So this is this is an advanced version. If you're new to the business or have taken 2 or less listings in your career, take or retake the foundations courses with Terry or the new to real estate agent pathway in Century 21 University. So if you are new to the business or have taken 2 listings or less, I don't care if you've been in the business 45 years and you've only taken 2 listings or less, that's fine. Go take the foundations courses again with Terry. We have it every month. You can check the agent resource guide for that, or go to Century 21 University and take the new to real estate agent pathway. Okay, that's going to get you on the right track to taking listings. Record a role play listing presentation weekly and send it to Neil or Robert. So when we talk about role playing your listing presentation every week, record it and send it, and we'll watch it. We'll give you some feedback, and it's one of the ways that people become great at taking listings faster. So again, this is advanced. You want to speed up the process? Start doing that. Well, Robert, I don't like how I look on camera. Gosh, can you imagine how you look in person? I mean, I don't like how I look on camera where you can edit everything. Like, give me a break. You're in a face-to-face business. Record a few prospecting calls weekly and send a Neil to Robert. So record your prospecting calls, whether it's past clients, centers of influence, expires, neighborhoods, whatever. Record some calls, send it to me. I listen to calls every Friday afternoon, and I'll give you some fair feedback. I'll say what's good, what's bad, but this is how we get better. And I want you to know I do the same thing. I record all my training classes. I send them to people to critique. I always have to get better. So it's not like I'm telling you to do something that I would never do. I do it. Attend at least one contracts class monthly. So Terry does like 4 or 5 contract classes a month. Cindy does contract classes. You have all the opportunities in the world to attend a contract class. You need to attend at least one. You got to know the contract. Because anytime we have an issue with one of our deals, if you come to us and say, hey, we got an issue with this deal between the buyer and seller, what's typically the first question that we ask? What does the guy, sir? I see some of you mouthing it. What does the contract say? It's always in the contract. So you need to understand the contract. That gives you more confidence. Same thing, attend at least 2 sales training classes monthly. I don't care who you, I mean, some of you like to come to my classes and I greatly appreciate it. So some of them are not here, but they don't like to come to my classes for a variety of reasons. That's fine. But I mean, Neil does a mastermind class. Hunter does great classes. We have guest speakers come in. Troy does AI classes. Our marketing team does social media classes. Like, you have plenty of opportunities to attend at least 2 sales training classes monthly. Now, there's the QR code for our calendar. Here's the QR code to C20 University. All right, number 6, identify at least 3 sources of business you want to focus on and create a plan for each. So this is a biggie. Identify 3 sources you want to work on, but create a plan for them. Here's what I mean by that. So some of you might say, okay, well, I want to work on expireds. Okay, great. What's your plan to get good at expireds? What's your plan to go after expireds? What's the plan? Well, I just call the expireds that come up for the day. That's a crappy plan. Uh-oh. We're at the stage where Robert's getting tough on us. It's only because I want you to succeed. Okay. Well, I want to work for sale by owners. Okay, great. What's the plan? Well, I go to Zillow and there's a for sale by owner. I call them. That's a crappy plan. Like, create a plan to actually get good at calling expireds or for sale by owners or whatever the case may be. Do some research. We have plans that we've written out, but I know you don't like those. So do some research and figure out a plan. Like, what's your daily goal? What are you trying to accomplish? I want to work probates. Okay, great. Like, when are you going to go take some probate classes? How are you going to go about doing that? Like create a plan for it. Have like 3 legit sources where you have plans for, not just sources that you're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants. And we're happy to help you create those. Okay. Well, I want to work, and here's my favorite. I want to work NODs. Okay. What are you going to say to someone who's in a probably not a very good financial spot? Well, I don't know, but I want to work that. Okay. Imagine that conversation is going to go very well. So you got to have a plan. Have a plan. All right. Attend at least 1 outside event yearly, such as 121, which is the Century 21 event. Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, Brian Feeney, Tony Robbins, etc. At least once a year, you have to go. I know it's money. I get it. I get that it's money. But at least once a year, you got to go expand your mind. You got to go around like-minded people. You got to get out of your seat, out of your house, out of your city. Go do those types of things. I go to 4 a year because I go to 2 Mike Ferry events and 2 Century 21 events. I used to go to Tony Robbins events. It's not that I used to, and because I don't like them. It's just I can only travel so much, right? And I've kind of got the stuff I really want to focus on. But at least once a year, go to an outside event. Save $200 a month to save up to buy a ticket, buy the travel, go to something. You got to expand your mindset. You got to be around those type of people. Number 8, track your numbers and source your business. One of the fastest ways you can improve your ratios and your closings is track your numbers and source your business. We got to know what's working and what's not working. Okay. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again. What?
Expecting a different result.
Thank you. All right. I thought more people would know that. Other than that or no one. I've already lost the audience, which we're about that time. All right. Expecting a different result. Well, if you're not tracking your numbers and you're not sourcing your business, that's kind of essentially what you're doing, because you don't know what's working and what's not working. You're just kind of doing the same thing over and over again, hoping that all of a sudden this quarter you do more business. You got to track your numbers. You got to source your business. We got to figure out what's working, what's not working. And if it's working, how do we double down, triple down on it? If it's not working, let's figure out either how to get better or just move on from it. And there's no shame, by the way, in realizing that this source isn't working. I'm going to stop using it. I've had to do that in my career a number of times. It's okay. But this is how we get better. All right. Number 9, talk with a coach at least monthly to track your progress. We typically call everybody in the company at least once a month. But if not, you can always reach out to me or Nigel or Jackie or Kevin or Neil or Patty or whoever, somebody, Terry, to help you out, track your progress. And number 10, prospect around other agents in the office or with a mastermind group at least 3 days a week. So at least 3 days a week, get out of your house, go to an office, or get on a mastermind group or something to prospect with other people. Okay. We don't have any really great listing agents that just are by themselves all day. We just don't. And I travel all around the country, and whenever I travel, I'm always going to different offices because I'm like, wow, I'm here, might as well go see other people. I have not come across really any great listing agents that are always by themselves. Okay. Now they might be in their private office in the office, but they get to the office, they have a schedule, they have a plan, they might do things at least a couple days a week. Get around other people. You say, well, Robert, I like to door knock. Great. A couple days a week, meet up with somebody and say, hey, look we're not sharing it, but we're going to meet here. I'm going to go door knock over here. You go door knock over here. We'll come back. We'll, grab some lunch and share what we got. Right. So at least there's some camaraderie. That's key. Now, we have offices all over the place in our own company that you can go to. I mean, I'm in Chino Hills today. I'll be in Long Beach Wednesday. I'm going to be in other places all throughout the week. I'm traveling around like crazy. So get to there. Well, Robert, there's nobody in the office when I go there. There's probably at least one other person. So here's what I want you to do. You go to the office. Well, there's nobody there. Wherever they're sitting, go sit next to them. Oh, but that desk is reserved for so-and-so. Go sit next to them. And if that person says anything, say, Robert said it was okay, and then they can call me. Okay. I've had those conversations a number of times over the years, but it doesn't happen very often because that person usually never shows up at this desk you're sitting at. But you got it. Okay. I go to like Oceanside, for example. I go to Oceanside. Oceanside's a really nice office, but it's really big and spread out. So it makes it seem like nobody's there, but there might be 3 or 4 people there. I'm like, why don't 3 or 4 of you just sit next to each other instead of like in each corner? Okay. There you go. And then I've got the QR code for all the scripts. Past client centers of influence, neighborhood, just listed script, condos, 2 bedrooms or smaller, plan to get good at for sale by owner, plan to get good at expired. Some of the stuff that we do, it just makes me laugh because I know there's just no other company that does this. We have a whole plan on how to get good at expired listings and a whole plan on how to get good at for sale by owners, like an actually written out plan. You don't get that anywhere else.
Hey,
Absentee
Robert,
owners, 2-story homes, pre-qualifying, add in their database. Yep.
hey, Robert, question. Did you already come out with a script when the seller said that he doesn't want to pay buyer's
Oh, I
commission?
did. I meant to share that. I did. You want to see it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. Hold on. Let me share this PDF. Any questions on what I just went over?
I have a question, Robert.
Yep.
Number 8, when you said tracking the process, what would be a good length of time to give that method time to see results?
At least 90 days.
8 days. Okay.
At least 90 days. And 90 days, you still might not have any closings, but you have to check to see, are you progressing anyway? I just shared the PDF, by the way, in the chat box, so you guys can download that and have all this and all the QR codes and all that stuff. But at least 90 days to see if you're progressing. So you might say, hey, look, I really want to work this neighborhood. I'm going to try to build kind of some farm type area. Well, I take it back. Farming's a bad example because farming takes a long time. But let's say that you decided that you wanted to get good at expired. You were going to take expired seriously and you wanted to get good at it. Okay, you do it for 90 days. And you might say, look, I don't have any listings. Okay, but are you getting closer? Is there progress, or are you still just getting hung up on and it sucks and it's not having fun or anything like that? Okay, well then maybe this just isn't going to work. But if you're saying, hey, look, I don't have any listings or anything like that, but I'm getting some good conversations. I'm adding people to my database. I have some leads that might be down the road. And it's like, okay, like you're progressing a little bit. There's something there. maybe we give this another 90 days or so. But yeah, at least 90 days, do a check to see, am I progressing? But also that you might also be like, hey, I'm not ready to give up on this source, but it's not quite getting, what can I adjust? Okay. And now this is where recording some of the stuff that you're doing could help, because you might say, I'll just keep using the expires as an example. You might say, I'm not ready to give up on the expires after 9 days, even though I'm not getting anywhere. Like, okay, well, record some of your calls or record some of your door knocking. And then that way we can listen to it together and be like, hey, right here, like, you got to pick up the pace a little bit because you only have a couple seconds to get their attention or something like that. But at least 90 days to at least see if you're progressing in some way on that source. Good question. Good question. Other questions on this?
The QR codes, Robert, the ones, yeah, for those scripts, is that available even though we're not C21 agents?
Yeah, they're just Google Doc links.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep. So some of you are out of our area, more than welcome to use them. Yeah, they're just Google Doc links. But I tried to put that together. Yeah, go ahead.
Robert, can you role play just real quick with me? How would you call a client and pitch them the InfoSparks info? How would you do that?
Is it a database or a lead?
Database.
Okay.
Past client, a past client or something.
Sure. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Miguel, it's Robert Hertel, your real estate agent from Century 21. How you doing?
Oh, Robert, my favorite agent. I'm pretty good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Did you have a good Easter?
Yeah. We took the whole week off. We're still here eating lunch.
Oh, good job. Good job. Well, hey, look, I appreciate that you're eating lunch. You still answered the phone. This will just take a minute. Hey, I'm just reaching out to you because I actually got some really exciting news about the real estate market right now. Do you have a minute?
Oh, yeah. For you
Okay,
always.
cool.
Yes.
Oh, I appreciate that. So, hey, look, I don't know if you know this or not, but I was just looking at some market stats. And if you look at March this year compared to last year, the average price per square foot is up 8%. The average days on market are down 22%. Did you know that was going on?
Average days on market. No. What does that mean?
Well, essentially, it means that homes are selling faster and for more money, which means the buyers are pretty aggressive right now. And on
Okay.
top of that, for the first time in 6 months, the average home in our marketplace sold above list price. So we have homes selling above list price, days on market going down at a rapid rate, prices going up very strong. So this is a really great opportunity for people interested in selling their houses to capture a really aggressive buyer market. So my question is, who do you know that's been whispering about selling their house or just casually conversing about moving that might want to know this information?
Yeah, a lot of people, but they're like, well, they're waiting till the rates go down and this and that. I don't know. What should I tell them?
Well, see, then that's exactly why I'm calling, because we have a lot of people waiting for rates to go down or to make a move, but the rates aren't having an impact on anything. I mean, like I said, prices are up and homes are selling above list price. So rates aren't impacting anything. And that's probably why rates have been pretty steady for the last almost about a year. They've been pretty much at the same thing. So who do you know that's been having those types of conversations about the interest rates?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell one of my coworkers about this. I'm gonna have him give you a call.
Okay, what's your coworker's name?
Larry.
Larry. Okay, great. So when do you think you'll be talking to Larry?
As soon as we get back to work next week.
Next week. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna make a note. So talk to Larry and then have him give me a call. And if it's okay with you, I'm gonna follow up with you in 2 weeks if I don't hear from you, just to see if you talk to Larry and see what he says. Is that okay?
That's fine, Robert. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Miguel, anyone else that you know other than Larry that might benefit from hearing this information?
Yeah, well, maybe us, but we're getting, our credit ready with our son so we can help him co-sign for his first house.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. Wow. Good parenting. Good for you, man. That's exciting for your son. Okay. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we set up a time for 15 minutes? You kind of tell me a little bit more about what you're looking to accomplish. I'll kind of give you some thoughts on the real estate market and we'll see what we can put together for you and your son. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. In 2 weeks, can you call me? That way we can get, two birds out with one stone. You know, give Larry's info and then
So,
we can
so
get together.
today's the first, 2 weeks is April 15th. So if I call you April 15th, right now it's 1:10.
Mhm.
So is this time frame typically pretty good for you?
At 1 o'clock? No, I'll be at work, but anytime after 5 is pretty
It's
good.
at 5.
Mhm.
Okay, so Monday the 15th, I'm going to give you a call roughly around 5:30 and we'll discuss, see if you talk to Larry and then also kind of put together a plan for you and your son. Sound good?
Sound good.
All right, perfect. Miguel, hey, I appreciate you answering the call. Glad you had a great Easter and look forward to talking to you in a couple weeks.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Good job.
There you go.
I
See?
like it. Thank you. Thank you.
Simple stuff.
Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
Hey,
Robert,
Robert,
I have,
Good job.
Now, hold on. So, two things I want to point out here, and this is not Robert being egotistical. He asked me a question, I just went with it. Okay, I didn't say, well, hold on. I just said, ring, ring, let's go. Because I have that confidence in what I'm about to say, in the stats and all that stuff. That's what I'm talking about. You got to be able to have that confidence that if somebody called you, not you calling them, and just put you on the spot and said, hey, what's going on with the market, that you can be like, boom, let's go, with energy, enthusiasm, and confidence. Okay, that's what you got to have. But the other aspect of that is when I did that role play, was I fairly energetic on that role play?
yes.
Yes.
Folks, you want people to embrace you more, you want people to want to talk to you more, you got to have some sort of energy and enthusiasm. Okay, that was a role play call. I have no adrenaline, I have no money on the line, I've got nothing. That was a role play call. That was probably more exciting than some of you make calls with money on the line.
yeah,
Okay, and that's not me again being egotistical or bragging. I'm just saying, like, you got to have that excitement, you got to have that passion. I was thrilled when he asked me to role play. I was like, yeah, let's go. Right, that's what I'm talking about when you're having that prospecting, making those calls.
hey,
Okay, or
Robert,
door knocking. Yes, Michael.
I just got the thing that you sent for the PDF, but I didn't see there the role play for that seller's response. It was just a regular one with all the ones that you're discussing right now, but I didn't see that one.
Which, the one that I just role played?
No, the one that I asked you when the seller.
Oh yeah, no, it's
I don't
not
wanna pay
on here.
commission.
I'll
didn't
put
have-
that in the chat box too.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
put that one in
Thank
the
you.
chat box.
Thank you.
All right, before I jump over to that and we wrap up here, any other questions on this blueprint?
You know what? I have a question, Robert. I don't know if it's on the blueprint or not, but when we're prospecting, how do we go? We're trying to set an appointment or we're trying to get a listing appointment, but how do we do it so it doesn't become a consultation, but an actual listing?
An actual listing appointment?
Yeah.
So Maria, assuming all the numbers made sense and everything worked out for you, how soon would you be looking to sell your house? Perfect world.
Probably like in another 6 months.
6 months? Okay, fantastic. So when they say 6 months, I know it's not a listing presentation. I'm still going to go meet them because I want to get a face-to-face meeting with them and just build that rapport and just see maybe when we get there, see if there's maybe any other questions. But a 6 months I'm not treating that like a listing presentation. But if you said 3 months or so, oh yeah, we want to sell in the next 3 months, but that's a listing appointment to me. I'm going with the listing appointment. I'm bringing the CMA. I'm bringing everything because 3 months goes by really quickly.
Okay, what if they said 3 months, but they're still not really sure?
Okay, great. Then I'm going because they said 3 months. If they give me an indication that's 3 months or less, that's a listing appointment. Because I'm going to go in there with that mentality, because I always have this thought process. I'm not taking a listing unless I know I can price it to sell. And if I price it to sell, worst case scenario, unless you're in like there's certain market places we have, like some of the senior communities and things like that, that even if it's priced well, take a long time. Some of you know that work those areas. But other than that, if it's priced well, I know it's going to sell within 30 days. So even if they told me that they're not going to list for 3 months, I'm still going to try to get a listing contract signed for 6 months because I'll gladly not put that house on the market for 3 months. And then when they're ready, I have 3 months to sell it. And if it's priced correctly, I won't need the other 2.
Okay.
So I'll gladly go on that listing. I would gladly do that and then just go on, take that listing agreement. But if it's 6 months, it makes it harder because then it's like, now I have to sign like a 9 or 12-month listing agreement, and there's so much that can happen in 6 months. But 3 months, I'm going. Even if they say they're not ready, I'm going, and I'm going to treat it like a listing appointment until they tell me, you know what, no, we're really going to wait. Okay, but I'm at least going to go and get myself in the game.
Even if they're treating it like, oh, I just want information, and they say, yeah, they are interested, just go anyway and treat it.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going.
Okay.
Of course.
I'm going. I'm going to go. I'm going to have my contract. I'm going to have everything. But and then look, but I'm going to get a vibe too. Like when I get to the house and I'm having a conversation with them, if I get that vibe from them that, you know, look, we really don't want to be pushed into this. We're really not in a rush. And I'm not going to be like overly aggressive, but I'm at least going to go in with the mentality of that this is a listing appointment, and I'm going to try to go get a listing contract signed, assuming everything makes sense for them. If that's my definition, is 3 months or less. Over 3 months, then it's just a consultation. It's just a whatever. I'm still going to go face to face, but I don't have the mentality that this is a listing presentation. It's more of a visit.
Okay.
What would you show them for? What would you show them, the seller, for 6 months? Just like InfoSparks or something?
No, I would show them. I would still put together a CMA, but I wouldn't walk in the door and be like, "Hey, Joanna, thanks again for having me over. I'm really excited about getting your home on the market and getting it sold. Do you mind if I take a quick look around?" Like, I wouldn't do that. Like, I would walk in and be like, "Hey, Joanna, hey, good to meet you. Hey, look, so, you know, I'm really excited about kind of giving you some ideas of what's going on in the marketplace so you can better prepare yourself for selling your house. Do you mind if you kind of show me around the house a little bit? So, you know, I can give you some feedback on maybe some things that might need to be upgraded or moved around to prepare for your listing." Yeah, sure. Okay, great. Then they show me around the house, and then I just make some notes. We go sit down at the table and be like, okay, you know, now, and I'm not going to go, I wrote down 3 real important questions for you. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go down. Okay, now I put together a CMA here to kind of give you an idea of what's going on in the marketplace. And then I would go over the CMA, and then I would talk a little bit more about their plans, their motivation, and things along those lines and what they were trying to accomplish.
So what if you had a possibility for a rental home? Maybe tenant occupied?
If they want to sell the house, but it's currently tenant occupied.
Yeah.
So my conversation with them is going to be, first of all, when does the lease expire? And if they say, oh, they're month to month, okay, great. When do you plan on giving them a 60-day notice to vacate? Because you have to give them a 60-day notice to vacate. And then, you know, based on that, then depends where the conversation goes. Because then we can go down different paths. Because if they say, well, we want to just sell it with the tenant in it, like, okay, well, then we need to have a conversation with the tenant. Oh, I don't want to do that. Then I don't want to take your listing. Okay. But if they say, well, we don't want the tenant to know we're trying to sell the property, it'd be like, okay, let me refer you over to a RE/MAX agent. I'm sure they're going to do a great job for you. I'm sure they will. I'm sure that will go really well for them, and they'll get a lot out of it.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, but I need to know when the lease expires. So I need to know what I'm getting into. You know, because that does factor into the marketing. It factors into the price if it's going to be tenant occupied upon the new owners taking over. So
very true. Very true.
Those are some questions that I want to ask if it's going to be tenant occupied. Yep. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So go through this. And if there's anything in there that you have questions on or you don't agree with, it's fine, right? But I really believe, and coaches really believe, and the company really believes that this is kind of a basic blueprint that if you follow this on a regular basis, you will start becoming a better listing agent. If you're already a good listing agent, this will improve it. And if you're not a listing agent, this is how you're going to get there. But you've got to really focus on being a great listing agent. Okay. That has to be your mentality. Not by just take your buyer business, do all that stuff, but that's got to be your plan on a regular basis. And here's the other thing when it comes to prospecting. When you're prospecting for listings, you'll find buyer leads. Okay, you just will. So you don't have to necessarily focus on buyer leads. You need to focus on becoming a listing agent. You'll find the buyer leads just through just by doing the effort. And then when you take listings, you'll find buyer leads through sign calls, open houses, and different things. But work on this. Put a plan for this. And if you have questions on this, you're like, gosh, Robert, how do I fit all this in a day? Like I talked about the schedule, then give me a call and we'll put it together, or talk to one of our coaches. We'll put it together and show you how you can put this in a day. And it's might seem overwhelming, but it's really not. Okay, when you really break it down. And I tried to break it down to its simplest format. So hopefully you got something out of that. Okay, so you wanted to see the other script.